Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have clashed in the most anticipated debate in U.S. history, with a record 100 million viewers thought to have watched the first televised encounter of the presidential candidates. Cybersecurity was called a main challenge facing the next president, and one of the speakers appeared to know exactly who the chief adversary is to blame.
There's no doubt now that Russia has used cyber attacks against all kinds of organizations in our country, and I am deeply concerned about this. I know Donald's very praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin, and one of the things he's done is to let loose cyber attackers to hack into government files, to hack into personal files, hack into the Democratic National Committee.
I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. You don't know who broke into DNC, but what did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of by your people.
Our colleagues from RT America went through some of the highlights of the debates in special coverage hosted by Ed Schultz.
Who won in that exchange, Brent?
Hillary, in a landslide.
How so?
Well, first of all, it is the overwhelming majority view of the FBI and American intelligence that it is Russia, organized by Putin, spying on America.
Ernie, I want to ask you about that exchange that Brent said Clinton won. Was that when Trump rebutted, he said, regardless of whether or not it was a 400-pound man on his couch, let's talk about what we found in those leaks. What did you make of that?
Well, Trump was right. You know, he's talking about the fact that he had nothing to do with those emails, and yet here's the Democrat convention falling apart and trying to blame Trump for everything, saying he has something to do with the Russians. He has nothing to do with anything. Those emails have a lot of information in them that the American public needs to know. Her servers were hacked, and we know that. We don't know how many countries have hacked her servers, but we do know this, that her servers were hacked. She doesn't want to talk about those things. Trump didn't have a lot of time to really focus on those things because he's trying to make sure that he covers everything he has to cover, and he has an American public that really doesn't have, I guess you could say, a lot of time to try to understand all of these issues. But seriously, Hillary knows that she needs to account for those 30,000 emails.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns.
Anya, I think we were waiting for that moment tonight, that parallel. I'll do this if you do that.
Absolutely, but I wanted to know what you think about Trump equating Clinton's emails to his tax returns.
I think it's a non-starter. I think Clinton really scored some points with him tonight. Essentially, he did not deny not paying any federal taxes at all. So that is just laying out there.
In fact, there was one moment where she pointed that out, and he said, well, if I did, it would have gone to waste.
It's really rich for Hillary to be making a call for transparency on these tax returns. This is not exactly her strong suit, but it's this ironic moment where Hillary Clinton is not clean on this birther issue. Donald Trump is the guy that brought it to the forefront. You know, when he stood up to President Obama when a lot of folks in Congress, when a lot of other folks were afraid to do so. And for her to think that this is a vulnerability of Donald Trump and that she's clean on this thing doesn't make any sense to me.
However, not all presidential candidates made it to the debate stage. Third-party nominees were not allowed to participate due to low ratings. Jill Stein from the Green Party staged a protest under the slogan, "Occupy the debates," right outside the university that was hosting the event. She was later escorted away by police. 17 of her supporters arrested for staging the sit-in. Jill Stein decided to take part in the debate via social media, taking questions from Twitter and streaming the answers on Periscope. Here's her take on the two-party political system.
Perhaps one of the most important questions we'll get in this election comes from AKA The Snake, who says, hey Jill, how can we end the two-party trap?
by supporting the alternative to the two-party trap, which is independent, principled politics through the Green Party, which is collaborating with many of the smaller independent, progressive, and socialist parties. We need to work together to be the strong, unstoppable force that we actually are. We need to stand up and stand strong. We do have the numbers. We have the values of the American people at heart. It's time to stand up and actually take our future back into our own hands.
And another candidate that left out of the debate was Libertarian Gary Johnson, a former governor of New Mexico. It's the second time he's won the party's nomination, pledging to reform the tax system and cut government spending. He has been polling in double digits in some states, however, failed to pass the 15% minimum nationwide threshold needed to join the first debate. And we discussed that with former Libertarian Party Chairman James Lark.
Many Americans are now, they've now come to the conclusion that the debates, while interesting and in some ways entertaining, are certainly lacking in the sort of having the wider perspective that other parties can provide. Even if they don't agree with the libertarian perspective with respect to various important issues, they still feel that that perspective should be represented. Democrats and Republicans run the Commission on the Presidential Debates. It's a bipartisan organization that essentially was set up to exclude heterodox voices. And so it's a very difficult task to get into those debates. And frankly, I think many Americans simply aren't willing to put the sort of time and effort into trying to change the system.
Meanwhile, a poll has been conducted to find out whether Americans trust the candidates from the two main parties. And it shows that half of the prospective voters don't think the nominees are, well, honest and transparent. 50% of those surveyed think that Hillary Clinton is dishonest, 58% thinking the same of Donald Trump. While third-party candidates considered more reliable, but most respondents failed to give an answer, saying they just knew too little about them. Well, here's how the pollster described the results.
This election is similar to giving a child the option of either finishing their vegetables or changing their kid brother's diaper.
Along with concerns over his honesty, Trump's made headlines for numerous insults of everyone from fellow U.S. politicians to women and minorities. It's prompted some rather troubling questions from our In the Now host, Anissa Nawi.
So what do you need to run for president of the U.S.? Enemies, friends, target voters. And that's exactly what Trump is not doing. How do you seriously run for president, expect to win, and openly and relentlessly throw shade at all Hispanic voters, insult veterans, and constantly dump on women? What if... No way. But maybe... No. Nah.
It's 1:15 here in the Russian capital. Thanks for joining us here on RT International. After the break, we investigate Russian citizens being recruited by Islamic State on a home soil and efforts to rehabilitate them. That story, just a moment.